Hi everyone! Today we're going to talk about shoe tying and some of the precursor activities that can help your kids gain some strength in their fingers and get used to the fine motor movements of shoe tying, as well as we're going to launch into two different approaches for tying shoes that you can teach your child to utilize. So first of all, I like to start kids with lacing. So this is good for the young ones, the toddlers, and up a little bit too. Getting them lacing different shapes onto a shoelace. And this is a great activity because you're going to tell them some different things. You're going to tell them, okay, find a yellow and a green circle. You could say if you're doing circles, squares, and doing basic shapes. And then they've got to look and they got to find and discriminate which one is the circle. And then they got to use two hands. So they got to grab the lace with one hand. They've visually got to see the hole there and they got to pull it through, coordinating hand movements. And so this one's pretty great for the young ones. It's also great for form consistency. So they have to, when they get an instruction or a command, let's say you're giving them instructions for cubes and cylinders, you're upping the language a little bit. You say find two cubes, one yellow and one blue, and lace them. So they've got to discriminate and identify the yellow and the blue cube, but they also have to do that thing of realizing or kind of like knowing what to ignore. So that's the whole thing with form consistency. They got to ignore all these other shapes and learn to decipher the pertinent information from what you've said. So they got to grab the blue, lace it through, and the yellow after they've kind of identified what isn't important. And so that's a great activity. And once this becomes a little bit easy, you can move into something a little trickier, which is lacing boards. OTs love their lacing boards. So this activity is where the kids have to basically move a shoelace through the holes on these little animals. Lacing boards are really cheap online. And also you can make them. So this is just like a piece of paper, a little mummy guy, and laminated. The only thing is you don't want to make the holes if you punch some holes in too close to the edge because they'll break. So put them in a little bit more, and that way it will operate basically the same as a bought lacing card. But these activities are great for visual scanning because they've got to scan and identify where the holes are. Sequencing, they've got to follow the task through, and it's easy for the little ones to get distracted by all the other stimuli in the environment. So building concentration as well, using both hands. So now, once that sort of thing becomes easy for them, I feel like this is a really good next step. So you can see the cover there? Activity buttons. So these were purchased for about $10 a few years ago by HomeSense, I believe. Oh, Good Homes. But I did see them on Amazon for $20. So these are great because they're sequencing activities. So the child has to go through and find the shapes and put them in order. They got to find the green, then the blue, and they have to go through that order. They also have to find, which color of the lace is it that you need? So they got to find a blue lace for this one or a red lace for this one. And then once they are having an easy time sequencing the colors, which might be enough for them, but if it's not, then these also have small numbers on them, so that makes it even a little bit harder. The child will have to find this one, which is not just the blue, but it's also 5. It also has the numbers in Braille on them. So this way they're not only discriminating the colors, but they're also identifying the sequence of the numbers. So again, that visual scanning and also that sustained attention as they go from one item to the other. And they're also moving left to right. So that's how we read, left to right. And so they're building up that skill to look at the left and kind of move toward the right. So that is a great precursor as well, worth the money. And now we're going to move into shoe tying. First I'm going to show you, there's also these little boards that you can get, but you can also just use some old shirts or maybe like old baby clothes if you have some of them, where the kid can just practice kind of doing up snaps or buckles. Yeah, old clothes are great because a lot of times they have trouble identifying, oh, which button the button goes through. And as they get smaller, it's harder for them to do. So some that maybe are easy for them to do, and then a few that are graded to be a little bit more difficult. So they're able to do that challenge.
Okay.
And now for the almighty shoe tying. So my favorite shoe tying tools are these. So these are different color laces from Amazon. They have two different colors. You can kind of see here, half is blue and half is pink. They have all different colors, but having two different colors is really great for learning shoe tying. Also, what I did here was I just tied two different color shoelaces together. So even cheaper, if you have a couple shoelaces around the house, you can do that as well. And then maybe just put it in an old sneaker or a shoe that they're not using or you're not using, so they can have that one as the shoe to practice with. So always for shoe tying, when kids are learning, it's really important that the shoe is in front of them as if they were tying the shoe, because I've seen parents kind of give them the shoe like this before, but this is not how we tie our shoes. So that, I feel like that, I don't know, that's way harder, right? It's harder for me, so it's way harder for them. Also, what I've done here, because sometimes when their kids are making the loop to tie, they don't know where to make the loop. So we get a loop way up here. So the black marker, I just put that so that, let's show you. They have that cue to bring the black mark to the black marker for that loop. So they have that visual cue to get that loop really close to the other laces. It just makes it so much easier to get to the next step. So first of all, I'm going to teach you the wraparound technique, and we're going to do it the right-handed way. So there's a left-handed and a right-handed way for tying shoes, and I'm going to put all of the different ways below so that you can see it. I feel like language is super important because sustained attention is challenging for kids, so just having really simple, clear steps of what they need to do is helpful. It can be by a picture, maybe you take some pictures, or it could be verbally, but I've broken down these steps, I feel like, into a great way for verbally cueing the wraparound way. So we're going into right-handed wraparound. So first, blue crosses pink, pinch the X. Pull blue under pink, pull strings tight. Okay. Loop blue and pinch. Pink around blue, push pink through, grab one color in each hand and pull the bow tight. There we go. Gotta use that grip. So that's, I feel like, the most efficient way to teach the shoe tying with the wraparound method. So that is one of the two ways that works really well. I've had parents who really did not want me to teach their child how to tie shoes the bunny ears way. That's kind of the go-to for the initial teaching method. So this is the wraparound technique that can be useful if you want to try something different or if the bunny ears technique isn't working. All right, we are going to go to the bunny ears technique now, which is, okay, let's do the left-handed bunny ears. So for the left-handed one, pink is going to cross blue, so pink is crossing blue. Pinch the X, there we go. Pink under blue, pink's going under. Pull strings tight. Loop pink and pinch. So there's those black markers again, we're matching them up. Loop blue and pinch. Loop pink bow around blue bow, so we're bringing them around. Push pink bow through. Pull bow tight. So there we go. That's the bunny method. That's kind of the standard go-to, but sometimes it's nice to have a couple different ways of trying it. And I like to I print these steps out so that I can kind of follow them to make sure to use that clear and concise language for the kids and that it's consistent. Every time we work on it, we go through the exact same steps with the same language. So they start to memorize and know those cues, and I'm consistent with the language that I'm using, which is so important. So those are two great methods for shoe tying. I'm going to put, so there's a left-handed, right-handed. I'm going to put the left-handed and right-handed for the wraparound technique and the left-handed and the right-handed for the bunny ears technique in the links below. So you can just print those off if you want to have that step-by-step visual cue. And thanks so much for tuning in. I've enjoyed teaching you a little bit more about how you can support your kids as they grow and learn to tie their shoes. Hey, You've stuck around to the end of the video, and for that you should be rewarded. So here we have a couple extra tidbits for you. So for teaching the lacing, I've been working with some of my kids that just couldn't get it and the parents really struggled. It's great to start with something thicker. We start with that and we build up the skill with using something thicker, and then they're able to carry that over, and then you can consecutively move to a thinner lace, and it has really worked wonders for me. So right now you see I'm doing the bunny ears here. You could tie 2 big ropes of different colors together so you get that kind of different color cue, but this, I would have them tied onto a chair even. That's what I've done in my sessions, is just have them tie this around a chair, and they're facing it just as if they were facing tying a shoe. So this is one extra great tip as well. I did print this from online, so there are visuals online where you can copy them and see, like, okay, they can look at this and see how to do it. I just feel like they're a lot of visual information and kind of hard for the kids to interpret. So you could have this, maybe it works for you. I just feel like the language of the concise, like simple actions of cross the shoelaces, pinch the shoelaces is more effective in getting to that shoe tying goal quicker. But many choices for you. The force be with you as you embark on this journey, avoiding Velcro and twirly shoelaces and moving towards the real shoe tying.